Nora Speaks is a weekly podcast that tugs at the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With show topics such as youth empowerment, education, women's impact, and civic engagement, Nora Speaks challenges the listener to not only join the movement, but be the movement. On the show, you'll learn from insightful guests who have demonstrated capacity in these fields and more, and I'm your host, Nora Muhammad. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of the Nora Speaks podcast, and I am your host, Nora Muhammad, and I'm very excited to be joined by a very wonderful woman who's doing great work in the South Jersey community, and that is Wendy Tabor. Welcome to the program, Wendy.
Thanks for having me, Nora. Good
Yeah,
morning.
thank you. Good morning. Good morning. I appreciate you, Wendy, and hanging in
Mhm.
there with me, working through some
Yes,
technical difficulties. I always want to make sure that I can produce the best product for Nora Speaks listeners, and I appreciate your patience as
hmm
we work through that. Wendy, you are the president of the Tri-County section of the National Coalition of Negro Women. You're
hmm
you're a nurse. You're
yes.
a sister,
hmm
and I was very fortunate to meet you through Camden's former mayor, Dana Red, when
Yes.
we came together for a wonderful volunteer opportunity in the city. So it's wonderful to have you to the program. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So,
Thanks.
yeah, so Wendy, I want to ask you about the National Coalition of Negro Women and that wonderful service organization. But before we get into that, I want the audience to know about you.
But as you said earlier, I'm a, nurse by trade. I am. I love community service. Community service and helping people is just something that is ingrained in my heart. I grew up with my mom taking me with her as she went around to nursing homes and visiting the sick, reading to them, helping people, helping who she could, however she could. So I just feel as though that that is just something that's a part of me. I don't do it for accolades. I don't do it for praise. I do it because I help people, and that's just what I can say about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than that, I have two children. My mom is my son's biggest cheerleader because he was born with a disability. So I consider myself blessed because the Lord only gives you things that you can handle, and he saw fit that I was able to take care of my son. And
Mm,
so I consider that a huge blessing, and also consider my daughter a huge blessing as well. So they're both blessings to me.
wonderful. You know, you talked about listening to you talk about going with your mother as she
hmm
supported and served other people. I recall being very little and going with my aunt who happened to be a nurse and
hmm
going with her on weekends, and she would take care of her father, my great grandfather, a friend
hmm
who was a double amputee, and
Oh,
just helping clean his house and
uh-huh.
make some meals and have him set for the week, or
hmm
just going around. My great grandpa, he elderly himself, he would say, I'm going out to help the old folks,
Yes, yes, yes.
so I too come from that background of just serving others and seeing um, that it's something that you do because others need it. It's not, like you said, it's not because you want a pat on the back or a reward. Really, virtue is its own reward. Service
Yes.
is has its own
hmm
rewards, and it's natural. It's a
Yes.
very natural thing for
hmm
me, and it sounds the same for you.
Yes. And I try to, sometimes you feel like at times I won't say feel overwhelmed, but maybe doing just a little bit too much.
Mhm.
And I never consider it too much. And I also try to go out once a month on my own because I am um I've had a catering business. So I also try to cook and try to make sure I feed because food is important. It helps you grow. The right food helps you
Mhm.
grow, helps you be sharp, helps you stay healthy. So me and a couple other women from time to time like to go out and provide meals. So, I just that's type of stuff I just absolutely love, Nora. I could probably talk about it all day.
Yes, yes. I told you before that my grandmother was a caterer, and I grew up
Yes,
watching,
yeah,
grew up just kind of being in the corner watching her, can I peel the potatoes, or,
uh-huh.
just little small things she let me do. And that is such heavy lifting because,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
catering and serving food and all of the work that happens on the front end. Folks
Yes.
just don't know
I have no idea. Yes.
the planning and the preparation
Yes.
and the forethought that goes into the final outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. So yeah, so you just told us a lot about yourself there, right? You're a healthcare
Yes.
provider, you've
Mm-hmm.
grown up in service, and you're a caterer. That's really
Yes.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you also operate in a leadership capacity through the organization and through your career. So
Mm-hmm.
you're a leader, and where does that leadership come from? Was it something that was always a part of you? Was it something that you grown into in womanhood? Uh, or is it something that you didn't necessarily grow into, but you were thrown into it and you had to kind of find your footing?
Well, I want to say that I'm going to say that I took the path of growing into it. Um, Over time, as a young girl, my mom always provided opportunities for me to learn. And sometimes that made me be the youngest in the room,
That's
the only
important.
of my color in the room,
Important experiences.
and probably at sometimes the most experienced, or when I say experienced, meaning more the most rounded,
Mm.
based, trying to give off or share my knowledge with someone. So, I played basketball in school, forward guard positions. That provides you some leadership, because in basketball you have to communicate with each other. That's where you learn to communicate, and sports is an excellent um, outlet to learn how to communicate. I'm not going to say that you're going to be the best communicator, but it's going to start there. I was a Girl Scout for a very long time, and my mom, um, you know, I was somewhat competitive in my younger age, that I needed to win,
Mm.
and so I needed to, make sure that I did my part and maybe a little bit more. So therefore, she made me walk door to door selling Girl Scout cookies. I remember one year I sold 1,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, and that was back when they were $1.75 a box. Um, so we and that was all from door to door.
Yeah, you
And
weren't on
so,
social media
yeah,
promoting
there was no social media.
Girl Scouts.
And I'm the only child, and people would say, "Oh, you're spoiled." I'm like, absolutely not, because I remember I wanted a pair of tap shoes. I did tap um, as a young age too. There was no, "Oh, I'm going to go out to the store and buy these shoes for you." It was the conversation of, how are you going to earn them? So
Hmm.
how I earned the money for these tap shoes was to collect aluminum cans.
Mm.
My dad took me to the dumpsters, and we collected aluminum cans for me to get $20 to buy these tap shoes. So therefore, earning it means you take care of it and you
That's right.
value it more. And so that's a very hard lesson, I think, nowadays, to try to teach this era, because we're in this fast world of, okay, well, I need to get it for you so I can move back on to my next task.
Mm.
So that's just something that we need to get back into, training our young people how to appreciate and earn and appreciate.
Wow, that's amazing,
Mhm.
and you're absolutely right.
Yes.
So many folks say, "Yeah, well, I remember back when I was younger, it wasn't that way." Right? Well, did you
Hmm.
parent like your parents parented you?
Correct. Yeah,
we
that's
can't blame
exactly right.
we can't blame the young people for what they're lacking if we didn't take the time to put
That's
it into them.
exactly right.
Yeah,
We
it comes
own
from
that.
somewhere. We own
Yes.
that. That's right. Wonderful, wonderful. So, Wendy, we mentioned that you're a healthcare provider,
Hmm.
and right now we're recording this conversation in the midst of an ongoing pandemic with
Yes.
COVID-19. making so many people ill, and unfortunately, we're losing a lot of people. And so, I want to ask you about COVID-19 and the vaccine in particular. But I
Mm-hmm.
do want to take a moment to pause and tell the audience that this portion of the conversation does not constitute as medical advice, that everyone should consult with their own personal physicians
Mm-hmm.
in determining what is best for them. And so, Wendy, being a healthcare provider puts you
Mm-hmm.
at a greater risk than the general population
Yes.
for contracting the virus. And I'm sure you've seen quite a bit in healthcare settings and how
Mhm.
this is impacting people. So, what do you want to say or contribute? Any thoughts that you want to give us?
Well, the number one question I get asked a lot is, did I receive the vaccine? My answer now is that I can say I did receive the vaccine. I received the Moderna vaccine. I have just received my second dose um, on Thursday, and I'm actually going to be taking my mom today for her first dose.
Mm,
I um, was offered the vaccine. It was not mandatory. So it was not mandated that all people at the hospital working needed to take it because people were skeptical.
mhm,
What I do ask is that people be an educated consumer. And by what I mean by that is that you need to do your research on the vaccine so that you can answer um, get the answers to your questions, or even um, kind of get the answers to relieve some of the anxiety that you may have. The reason why, well, why did I get the vaccine? Well, I felt as though that the risk of me getting contracting COVID-19 was far more riskier and higher than the side effects of the vaccine. And that was my reason. And I live with my mom, who has multiple comorbidities that wouldn't allow her to possibly survive if she was to contract the virus. And I said to myself, if I became an asymptomatic carrier and I was to give it to her, um, and she wouldn't make it, I just, that was just something I
mhm.
couldn't handle. So I needed to do everything in my power that I could to protect those that are around me. Um, so I just think that people that have a lot of comorbidities, high blood pressure, heart disease, any compromising illnesses, just need to consult with their physician and just have a really heart-to-heart talk with them, and read from the CDC website and put those things together to make an informed decision about receiving the vaccine.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And as you said, your factors were very personal.
Yes,
And everyone must take into consideration their personal circumstances in
exactly.
determining whether or not they should take the vaccine. And I'm glad that you shared that, because we all come at it from a different perspective and from,
Correct.
different experiences. So thank you
Mm-hmm.
for sharing that. And so you said you got the second dose on Thursday, and we're recording this on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I've been told, or it's been said, that the second dose has, greater side effects, and I'm not sure if that was for the Pfizer or the Moderna,
Mm-hmm.
but you're doing pretty well. I'm looking at
Yeah.
you, and
Yes, and
you're
I
sitting
haven't.
upright, and
Yes, and I can't say that I haven't had um other than a sore arm.
Mm,
And you get a sore arm with any muscle shot. So
right.
I don't know if I can even say that is related, because any muscle shot that you receive, your arm is going to be sore.
Mhm.
I haven't had there's no swelling, no itching, there's no fever, no nausea and vomit, and none of that. So that's just me. And I can only speak from my own personal experience.
Right, and, once, folks are administered the vaccine, they're to, wait at least 15 minutes before leaving so that they can be observed in case they do have some adverse reaction from the
That's
vaccine.
exactly right.
Mhm.
There's physicians on site in a crash cart on site where I was, that they give you a time and they let you know when you could be released, and so they stay there and monitor you, and then they're there in case there's some a reason that you have gotten sick, there's somebody there that can help you.
Thank you. All right. So as we're transitioning on, and you told us about your background and what makes
Uh-huh.
you, the pot that you grew up in, so to speak, that
Yes.
produced you and made you so special. And
Hmm.
now we have the fortune of you leading the Tri County section of the National Coalition of Negro Women. So explain to the audience what this organization is about and what your section does in particular.
Okay. NCNW um, is 100 years old. It was founded by Mary McLeod Bethune, and it was founded during the time where women were fighting for their rights um, to vote, their right to to do different things, the right to be in the military. There was a very trying time. What I never forget, there was a presentation that was given at National. Now, I failed to mention that NCNW is the only building on Capitol Hill that's owned by African American women.
Mm,
Mary McLeod Bethune, in order to start an organization in those times, you had to have at least, I think it was 5 to 10,000 members.
mm,
She came with over that, over 10,000 women to support her and to push her to greatness. She fought for women to be in the military. There was a heavy push for women to be able to vote. So all of those things are substantial. So NCNW today, our mission still remains that we help um, conquer and attack issues that affect African American women and their communities, regardless of religion,
mhm,
regardless of political views, regardless of um, socioeconomic status. We're there to pull our sisters up. It's a big sisterhood. And that brings me to the Tri County section. I I moved back to New Jersey in 2015 just because I needed better services for my son. And I was in Virginia for 10 years prior to that. So I became a member in NCNW through the Fredericksburg Stafford section. And I was asked to um, come in as a member and very shortly became or was entered onto their executive board. So as in saying that, I just love the fact that that's all we did is we served the community. Service equals the community around you. So our section, Tri-County, services Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. When I say service, that means that any type of community service act that we do, we service within those 3 counties.
mhm,
So we just recently, for the holidays, for Thanksgiving, we fed 14 families. We gave 14 food baskets out. For Christmas, we did a huge toy drive where we collected 189 toys
mhm.
for 80, 80, 86 children. And so we just did some awesome things around the holidays. It's a little challenging now that we can't have face-to-face meetings, I said, but we try to figure some things out. Um, we are planning on having a Black History program for the month of February. We did have a Founders Day program, and we're working on instituting our first scholarship program that would help give young men or young women a scholarship um, for the upcoming 21-22 school year.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of exciting things going on.
You definitely do. And the one thing that attracts me to the organization is that it is service based.
Hmm.
And if a person is looking to get involved in the community and give in some kind of way, and you want to do it with a coalition, this is a great organization to be a part of, and it's a great organization to support.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I wanted to say that there historically in NCNW sections have been up in the northern New Jersey area. And so when I came back to New Jersey, I was like, I can't travel back and forth up North Jersey, to do service. There's service to be done right here in my own community. So I actually got a group of women together. We needed 35 members, and I chartered the first section here in the South Jersey area. So that is the Tri-County section. So hopefully that we can build that section to stay viable for many, many years to come.
Right. That's wonderful. And I know, the NCNW is to support Black women, their families, and their communities. And
That is
so
correct.
there are men as well, even though it's a National Coalition of Negro Women,
Yes,
there are
yes.
men that support this organization as well.
Yes, so men can be associate members to any section. And what that does is that it just shows that the men are supporting the women of the section. They don't have any voting rights, I said, but we always need a hand um, with always need a hand at some type of an event, or maybe even get the input of a male's perspective on something that we may be doing. So there, we don't, although it is a women's organization, we do have male members.
Right. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So, I know, as you said, a key factor to staying viable is membership.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you currently having a membership drive, and how can folks learn more about NCNW?
Yeah, so we try to have a membership drive or something that anytime we have an event, and especially in our new Zoom world and our new virtual world, I always let our members know that, invite a friend. And sometimes people doing service work is hard work.
Yeah.
And sometimes people want to be a part of something that they want to be able to contribute to. This is a perfect organization where your voice is heard, your ideas are implemented, and we are change agents. We want to be a change in the community.
Hmm.
So if anybody is interested, they would just email me, um, ncnwtricounty@gmail.com, for information. I forward them information and we can have a talk.
Great. And they can find you on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, at NCNW Tri County,
Okay.
both Instagram and Facebook.
And what I'll do is, Wendy, I'll include links for your
Okay,
contacts in the show notes so that
okay,
anyone who's interested can, after listening to this conversation, can consult the show notes for that contact information so that they
awesome.
can reach out to you, but also take a look at some of the service projects that the organization is doing. And
Mm-hmm.
in thinking about the counties that you're serving, here in South Jersey, there are counties that have great need. There are
Yes,
pockets within those counties that have significant need, and thinking about the impact of this pandemic on families, on children, on schools, on communities. It's a very important time for organizations like this to use their membership, to use the resources of multiple folks coming together to serve those areas of the community where there is this need.
that's exactly right. You're exactly right.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, you've been a part of the organization for quite some time. Is there, whether we're talking about the Tri-County section in South Jersey or in Virginia, or is there a particular project that you've worked on that you're particularly proud of that you want to share with the audience?
Um, well, I think that one particular project that I can say that not only me, but our section is proud of is our Harambe recognition program. So Harambe means to pull together. It is a Kenyan word that they typically recognize people in the village who have done things for the village. So at our Harambe, we reach out to the women of the community who are doing good things in the community, and then we honor them at our banquet event. We've had so far 3 Harambes
Mm.
and they have been absolutely phenomenal. Um, we weren't able to, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. We had two Harambe's, and our third one was supposed to be this past year, but due to COVID, we could not, that did not take place. So what we will be trying to look at is trying to have one for this upcoming September. And
Wonderful.
so with that Harambe, we had to, um, how can I put it? We had to seek out into community, and not those people that are blurring, but we pulled people out that people may not have known about, and
That's
to
important.
show and highlight some of the excellent things that they're doing. Our past Harambe, we highlighted some youth, and we
Mm,
highlighted a male. So it was not just women. We found a male that was doing a lot of great things in the community. So I am really proud of that program because it just shows not only are we a community-based organization, but we support everybody else that's doing wonderful things in the community as well.
mm. Yeah, I really like that point about highlighting folks that some people serve a great deal, but they do it from the shadows, right? So it's really nice to be able to bring those folks into the spotlight and
Correct.
say thank you
Yes.
for what you've done. And Wendy, I know this means a lot to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I in the first time that you and I actually had a conversation, I remember it just if to me it just felt so vibrant because I felt like we were riding the same wavelength, if you will, in our backgrounds, in our enjoyment and service, and um, just feeling good about making sure we're supporting the needs of others at no at no expectation of a reward
Correct.
for self. So I just
Yes.
your energy and your spirit for that, it really resonates. It resonated then and it resonates now. And I want to thank you for the efforts that you take. And I know to operate in a leadership capacity, um, you do it through your career. You've done it, in the community, through entrepreneurship. And certainly even with this organization, I know to be a leader, it's a lot. It's a lot of effort. Um, some people can say it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yes.
yeah, folks are, they're living their lives, and folks have a lot of things going on, but to keep the organization sustained and to keep the organization effectively meeting its objectives, then we gotta keep it operating. And so to operate in leadership is a great sacrifice. And I want to thank you for everything that you do in contributing to the community, to our community, and for being such a beautiful sister with the heart to serve.
Thank you very much, Nora. Very nice of you. I appreciate it. It
Sure.
is you're everything you said is exactly right. And it is a breath of fresh air when I do meet somebody like yourself who is all into serving our service work as well. And so I just absolutely appreciate and honor the relationship that we have.
Sure. And it will continue to grow. And
Yes.
before I let you go, earlier, just kind of it came out in our conversation
Hmm.
that you also develop body products.
I do.
Now wait a minute, Wendy. Let's take a step backwards. Let's
Yeah.
take a step backwards, right? You were a Girl Scout. You
Hmm.
played basketball.
Hmm.
Your mother dragged you around and brought you into every room that she came in. You're an
Yes.
entrepreneur,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You having your own business
Hmm.
twice, right?
Yes.
Couple
Yes.
businesses that you've had.
Well, yeah, actually more than that. I actually also owned a home phlebotomy business where I covered actually three states, and that was just a bridge for me to get into nursing. So
Hmm.
it just feels like that sometimes that you can always say that you're good at it, so why not make that monopolized for you? And
Yes.
so I've done that, and then I've moved on to my next project.
And now you're leading the NCNW, and now you have this most recent project that
Yes.
you're working on. This is really incredible. So talk to the audience about that.
So I have really taking wearing a mask
Mm.
all the time. Now, mind you, I am an OR nurse, so I wear a mask for most of my work day, but it was not to the magnitude of having to wear it all day,
Mm.
everywhere you go at all times. So during the winter months and the summer months, I just it felt like your face may have get a little excoriated or a little irritated. And now is the time that we don't have to plaster. You know, some of us may, I won't say plaster, we'll put makeup on to kind
Wendy,
of hide
some of
the
us
face.
plaster.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was trying to be nice. That's right. So much plaster. And I figured that now is the opportunity
Yeah.
that you can really kind of condition your skin
Mm.
while you're wearing this mask so that you wouldn't have to go to that point. And then it's just a way to learn how to moisturize and to keep up with keeping your skin healthy because that's important. So in doing that, I figured let me see if I could whip up something that would kind of help by researching essential oils
Mm.
and researching the type of butters that are um, perfect for moisturizing and even toning your skin. And so, in saying that, With Love was born. And so,
Mm.
With Love means that I take the opportunity, the time, the effort, and my heart into making sure that the product is going to work and that it is something that benefits you.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
So, um, I you know, thinking about everything that you're doing, a Wayans skit kind of comes to mind, like in Living Color, like you've got all
Yes.
these jobs.
Yes. Yes.
You got all these jobs, man.
Yes, yes. And then you take the hat off and put a chef jacket on, and then you switch it off to
Exactly.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah, you take that off. You got your scrubs and your
Yes.
OR mask on.
Uh-huh. You just pop it off like, like one snap.
That's incredible. That's
Yes.
incredible. So, are they ready? Are your products ready for market, or
I
they're
have
still
a
in development?
few products ready for market. I did kind of mix up a whole bunch last weekend. So they are ready. What I haven't done is introduced it to social media because that would be
Mm.
the first spot for that to be. So right now I've given some samples to people and they've like, oh, I need a big tub. It's fabulous. And so
Nice.
right now people are just reaching out to me via email.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So,
Yes.
we'll make sure that I get mine.
Yes. Yes.
I'm putting my throwing my hat in there to,
Yes.
and I love natural products.
Mhm.
And there are a few sisters that I, support on an ongoing basis
Okay.
where, I buy my hair and body products from. And
Uh-huh.
so I look forward to sampling yours and then
Yes.
becoming a regular customer once yours are in regular rotation.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Wendy, is your daughter much like you? I mean, I hear all of this activity. Well, I don't know the
Mhm.
age of your daughter.
My daughter's 17
Okay, and your son is younger.
and my son is 12.
Oh,
Yes.
he's 12. Okay, he's not that young. Okay,
Now my
nice.
daughter plays basketball. I said, but I try to push her. She's very, very shy. So she's probably the exact opposite of me. She was in Girl Scouts and she is a worker bee.
Mm,
So she is the person that will be there to support you 100%, but she won't be the one that well, right now, she won't be the one that is leading the pack. I said, but she'll be right there helping and asking what can she do to help. And that is just as important as anybody that has ever led is for
absolutely.
somebody to be behind you, supporting you, is just as important.
You're
And so
absolutely right.
I see her, um, she loves computers. She wants to go to school to computer science because she's an artist. She can draw. She is very crafty. So the part that what she has gotten from me, for my genes, is her craftiness,
Mm,
her drawing, her creativeness. That's what she has gotten from me. And so who's to say that from her watching me over the years that she doesn't turn into somebody that grows into a leader? I said, but right now she's not, she is very observant. So I know she's soaking everything in,
Mm.
like most children do. And but she wants to go into computers, and right now she's very when she puts her mind to doing something, she she lays it out. She'll come to you with this plan of how she's going to get this done. This is her idea. This is her plan. This is how she wants to implement it, which is very good. So right now, I was talking about the college applications because time gets away
Yes.
from you. And when I asked her about it, I was kind of worried because it was late. She's like, "Mom, I've already taken care of that. I've already applied to 7 of my top
Wow.
colleges." She had
Incredible.
already done it and already had solicited her dad for her money for her application fees. It was all done. Her essay was done. I was actually impressed.
That is impressive.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Well, let me tell you, and you can tell her
Uh-huh.
that two things I'll say. One, I
Okay.
grew up very, very extremely shy.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are shocked to hear that. I was very afraid of public speaking,
Hmm.
and it's interesting what experience can do to you, how it can
Yes, yes.
transform you. We think that we're one thing, but our life's experiences and in general, that need to serve others, it can bring us out of the shell that we're in. Um, so, now people think there's no way that you were ever afraid to speak. And that's absolutely not true. That's one thing. And then the other thing I'll say, she sounds like she's a quiet observer. She's a worker bee, as you describe. And I have found in my experience that it's often those people who need the microphone. They've sat back, they've watched quietly, they're looking for nothing for themselves, and they're the people that often have some of the most profound contributions are those individuals. So when I'm uh, seeing folks who don't like to talk and who have a lot of integrity in what they do and they don't want the spotlight, they don't want credit, a lot of times they're the folks that I do want to bring to the microphone. And as you even with NCNW, to highlight them because maybe they're working from the shadows, maybe they're not the big name in town, but they have a meaningful contribution. And not only do they need to be recognized for that, but others need to recognize that just because someone is quiet or a little reticent, to be in the spotlight, that doesn't mean that they have a meaningful impact. And we can learn a lot from the quietness. We can learn a lot from that reservation. And so I anticipate, as this young lady is your daughter, she's in her cocoon and she's in the incubator. She's in the pots cooking just like you were, and that our community and our world is really going to benefit from this dynamic young lady that you have blessed us all with.
Hmm. Yes. That's a
Wendy,
great analogy. I appreciate that. I will share that with her.
please do, please do.
Yes.
Wendy, this has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I'm so
Hmm.
grateful that you joined me. I'll tell you, when I spoke with you initially, uh, gosh, it seems like it was just yesterday, but it
I
was,
know. Yeah.
many
Yeah.
months ago.
Yeah.
I just thought, wow, this sister has a beautiful spirit. She has a beautiful energy. She's so genuine and sincere. I wanted to bring you to the podcast just from our
Hmm.
initial conversation, and I'm grateful for everything that you've shared because my goal is, as Nora Speaks podcast intends to tug on the soul and consciousness of the Black community, and you're doing that through the work that you do in healthcare. You're doing that through the work that you do through the NCNW, and you're doing that just with the folks that you impact every day. And I'm eager for listeners to hear from you during Women's History Month,
Hmm.
and as I'm highlighting women who are doing impactful things. And I'm grateful
Right.
that you have joined me in this episode of the Nora Speaks podcast.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Nora, for having me.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nora Speaks podcast. Be on the lookout for a new episode coming at you fresh next week. And as always, if you want to learn more about me and the work that I do, visit my website, noramuhammad.com. Or if you have a listener question, email me at info@noraspeaks.com. You can also follow the Nora Speaks podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nora Speaks Podcast. I'll be sure to include links in the show notes. If this show has value to you, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with family and friends. And be sure to check out previous episodes. And remember, don't just join the movement, be the movement. Stay in peace.